I want to thank you both, Kylie and Alicia, for being here today to talk about your personal experiences of living well with the impacts of Huntington's disease. We're most appreciative. And
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Kylie. And I thought we could start with both your experiences of your relationship with Huntington's disease. So, Alicia, if you could start us off, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So my name's Alicia, and Huntington's disease runs in my family, very sadly. My mum's partner, my mum's wife, is one of 11 children. And of those 11, 7 of those siblings do have Huntington's. So I'm lucky in that Huntington's doesn't affect me on a genetic level because she's my mum's wife. But it does affect me in all other areas of my life and my family. Of the 7 siblings that were diagnosed with Huntington's disease, my mum's wife, Jo, is the only one who is still with us. And so it's been a very long road for us.
Devastating, yeah, totally devastating.
And how about you, Kylie? Thank you for that, Alicia. I really appreciate it. Kylie, what's your relationship to Huntington's disease been?
Well, again, in my family, I inherited the disease from my father, and he inherited it from his father. So Dad was one of 3 children, and only he was the one that inherited the disease. So that was good. It didn't pass down in that way. And then my father had 2 children, and Tina and I both went through testing when I was 30 at Westmead Hospital, and that's when I found out that I was the one that had the gene. Tina didn't. So we were literally 50-50 in terms of the results there.
And how, Alicia, have you managed the impacts of Huntington's disease on your life?
I can't say that I have managed it, but we manage, I suppose. We manage with, you know what? We manage with a sense of humour, if I'm pretty blunt about it. You manage by being able to laugh and being able to love through the disease and through the ugliness of the disease. You just have to laugh and surround yourself with family, really. So my mum's wife's name is Jo. Treating Jo with dignity and with respect at all times through everything that she's experiencing, and remembering that she is more than just the disease that is at the surface, that she's so much more. And so that's how we manage to get through.
And Kylie, how about you? How have you managed the impacts of Huntington's disease?
When I first found out that I was positive, that pretty much sucked big time. I really had a lot of difficulty coming to terms with that. It took a long time for me to get my head around that, and then what that future would mean for me, because I sort of had a future planned out if I hadn't had the disease, and now I had to sort of like realign my future into a totally different kind of way. So yeah, lots of different things. So anger, loss, frustration, just why is it me? You know, just disbelief, lots of drinking, smoking was the way that I coped with it for a long time, you know. And then slowly I started to like look at different things. I've always sort of been a quite positive person, and I also have always had a very good sense of humor. So once I sort of start looking at things and started laughing at myself, that's when I sort of like, okay, I can manage this because I have a sense of humor. I'm a positive person, and I know that I will do whatever I can to help manage the disease.
What I really pick up on in terms of how you both responded to that question is that there are challenges, that it's hard, that it's emotional. But if you have a wicked sense of humour, that's my interpretation of what you both said.
Definitely helps.
That
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you have a little bit of alcohol on the side and a decent amount of chocolate, which I fully support, that you can
Yeah,
actually
no,
move your way through it. So moving on, and Alicia, I'll move to you now. So it would be really good if you could kind of outline some examples of how you've been proactive in managing Huntington's in the lives of you and your family.
I actually speak from my mother's perspective because she is Joe's primary carer, but she has been the most proactive person I've ever seen in my life in supporting Joe. And she is constantly thinking out of the box, like an OT. She's just constantly thinking about different ways to involve Joe, to make sure that she is always feeling like she's contributing, that she's she's feeling confident in herself and that she's feeling happy and safe all the time. My mum utilizes a lot of support services in order to have tools and different things in the home that Joe can use.
And Miss Kylie, how have you been proactive in building awareness?
I have been privileged to talk at many different events and be involved in a number of boards and like fundraising and the events committee, and as well as getting involved other community people, other schools involved to do fundraising activities and that kind of thing. I have talked at a couple of I think university sort of student level to people about things like with Huntington's, and they're going through the whole the testing program and what's involved and how they could better go about and just different sort of experience from my perspective, different things from my experience. So I think that was also empowering as well, because lots of people had not really kind of thought about all of these sort of fine points that are connected to testing. I used to work at the office, and I would help answer the phones and talk to people, with the disease, and go to meetings. But I always sort of felt that I wanted to, I guess, do more, share more, be more available to people. And I guess the teaching part of me, then I thought, how else can I, reach a broader audience? And that's when, Tammy and I talked about the idea of blogs. So that's when I started writing a blog for Huntington's Vic. And we had a number of different topics that I was writing about. So I actually found that also very, really positive and strong, and very, I guess, empowering as well, to be able to reach out and share, with other people exactly, all of these problems and all of these issues, and probably just have a voice, because I just sort of felt that I didn't have a voice for so long, and this was really a way for me to sort of regain that voice.
That was really well said. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to ask you the next question. So, Alicia, how important is managing your mental and physical well-being?
For me, it's more about being there for Joe. And so we feel like you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you need to be able to look after yourself in order to be able to look after others. And it's important for us to make the best possible situation and lifestyle for Joe that we can. But all of that is, and so, you would look after your body, and you should look after yourself emotionally as well. I know that different family members of mine have seen counsellors through Huntington's Victoria, and it's like invaluable to be able to speak to someone who understands, and someone who knows, someone who has an understanding about Huntington's disease, because it is a hidden disease, and sometimes and people don't talk about it a lot. It doesn't have as much awareness as it should have, as we obviously all feel that it should have. And so sometimes that can be difficult, but all of that aside, it's a lot easier said than done. And it's important to really, really take care of yourself, because eventually you'll just break down.
Can I say, well said. And same question for you, Kylie, because I know you've one move that you've absolutely made is to look after your mental and physical well-being. So can you talk about why that's important and how you've gone about doing that?
Well, I decided after the not so useful help from the doctors, after, you know, they just said, come back when you're symptomatic and we'll see then. So I've tried many different sort of strategies to not just to use like the medical help and that kind of thing. I've used many alternative therapies to help me, you know, I'm being very much a whole mind, body, spirit kind of person, and that has been my approach for a long time. And I always enjoy sort of finding new things and doing new things to add to my list of things to do and be and try. I've also been always positive through mindfulness. I've also used meditation, which I've found to be very helpful and mindfulness in helping me to just stop overthinking things and just not be so fearful about the future. I mean, it'll happen, but there's a long time between sort of now and then. And that's why I always sort of try and just do lots of different things for using lots of different alternative therapies.
You two, can I just say, are beautiful people. It's so special to me that you've done this. I can't thank you both enough.
And
and
thank you.
You are helping so many people.